And you can see that it's Mickey.
Yes!
And it says, oh, hi there. Or oh, hey there. And on the back it says, goodbye for now.
You gotta say it as Mickey, though.
Oh, hey there! I had a better Mickey. I don't know. It's gone. Okay.
Oh, hi there!
That was so good. No, your Snow White's my favorite.
Oh my gosh, I haven't done that in a really long time. What did I even, like,
You
goodbye?
Yes, that's exactly it. Goodbye! Goodbye for now! Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess, and this is the week of guests. We have Bree today.
Yay!
Yay! And today we are going to talk about Homeward Bound II, Lost in San Francisco. Bree doesn't want to be here for the, info part like last time, so we're going to jump to just me in the same outfit but a different day.
Hey.
Homeward Bound II, Lost in San Francisco is a 1996 theatrical release. It's directed by David R. Ellis, cinematography by Jack Conroy, editing by Michael A. Stevenson and Peter E. Berger, music by Bruce Broughton, and it's written by Chris Hauty and Julie Hickson. David R. Ellis is best known for The Matrix Reloaded, Snakes on a Plane, Cellular, and Sphere. Jack Conroy is best known for The Gaelic Curse, Excalibur, My Left Foot, and A Bridge Too Far. Michael A. Stevenson, Peter E. Berger, and Bruce Broughton I've all covered in previous videos. They'll be listed and linked in the description. Chris Hauty is best known for Never Back Down, Sniper, Ultimate Kill, Sniper, Ghost Shooter, and this. Julie Hickson is best known for Frankenweenie, Hansel and Gretel, Fishing with George, and this. The film stars the original cast who I've covered in Homeward Bound or in previous videos. They'll be listed and linked in the description. But newbies include Ralph Waite, Sinbad, and Carla Gugino. Ralph Waite has replaced Don Amici as Shadow, and he is best known for The Waltons, The Bodyguard, A Cliffhanger, and On the Nickel. Sinbad plays Riley, and I covered him in the video about First Kid. He will be listed and linked in the description. Carla Gugino plays Delilah, and she's best known for Watchmen, Gerald's Game, American Gangster, and San Andreas. The film has a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it made $32 million in the box office. That's everything about production and info. Let's go back to me and Bree for notes. We're back to the better part of the video because Bree's.
Oh, hey.
That's how it is. Although, honestly, the better part of the video, the movie is terrible.
I was gonna say, like, the better part of the video would be, like, not a video about this one.
So, Homeward Bound II. How do we say this? It is probably, like, if Homeward Bound, the first one, was, like, your dinner, Homeward Bound II is a landfill.
I was trying to think of a food comparison if we were going that route, and I was like, okay, it's that, like, really disappointing, like, fast food that it's not even your favorite fast food restaurant,
yes.
And then it's, like, way greasier and gives you stomach problems.
Yes.
And this is getting... But
it's
something like
cheap,
that.
terrible food.
Yes. Right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, the inciting incident was bad, and then everything
Yes.
else after that...
Yes.
Garbage.
Yes. First, Shadow... Shadow was a yellow golden in the first movie, and in this one they went the red golden route. It's blatantly, like, at least Chance and Sassy look the same as their original dogs. Like,
He was having a midlife crisis.
Chance has a spot over here that is not the same as the other Chance, and then I think Sassy's face is, like, more black than it was in the first. But Shadow's a red golden!
There's, like, no excuse. It's one of those things where it's like there was no dog whatsoever that you could find.
You're telling me there was no yellow golden trained to be in a movie?
Shame. It made him look younger. Like, I don't know the ages
he
of
did.
the
Well,
dogs,
he looked
but it's
skinnier.
Like yes, that too.
And his, like, white was way less. Even in the first one, I'm pretty sure they used a couple different yellow goldens for different things.
Shows. They're out there.
Yeah.
They're out. It's not a difficult breed to find. It's not uncommon.
So inciting incident, I think we can just say the writing, there is none. I'm just like...
It was one of those things where they're like, well, it's like someone did bullet points and then didn't flesh them out.
Yes.
Like, that's what it felt like. They're like, okay, we need to get them to not get on the airplane. So somehow they don't get on the airplane. I guess they'll fall out. And it's like, no one ever checked anything after that. And then it's like, well, we need to bring Chance back into the storyline. So he'll just run back in. Like, and just everything, it was, there's a word for that. Is it Deus Ex Machina? There's like some sort of, I feel like there's a term.
Chance coming in that moment, that's a Deus Machina.
Yeah.
The rest is just
bad writing.
On the nose, as you said, for the pound people.
Yes! Yes!
too on the nose. Also, my whole thing about the pound people is that whole scene, like, is so anticlimactic. Like, they're taking Chance, and you think it's gonna be like this chase. Like, they have to chase the car to save Chance, but it all happens in that one area.
Exactly. And then nothing comes of it. It's not even like we're gonna up the stakes for them to have to rescue him elsewhere. It's like, no, they're just gonna do it, and then they leave and they just...
Right. Like, when I watched it, I expected the pound guys to be the villains throughout the entire movie, and for it to build and build until they captured all three animals, not even just Chance.
Right.
And if they did just capture Chance, then it was going to be like this whole, like, we have to save him from the lab, but...
Kind of like what they did last time with the whole pound thing, but maybe they're like, ooh, that would be too similar, so we can't do that.
Yeah, but Shadow saving a child from a burning building is not too similar to helping the girl find her family in the first one.
No, no, not at all. How we were saying, though, the on-the-nose dialogue, where it's like they literally just went, we need a bad guy that hates dogs, and that's all their dialogue is I hate dogs. And like, oh, we're gonna... It just felt... It's one of the... You could tell it was a group of writers that really thought their audience was dumb. I feel like you can tell that in, like, children's movies or television shows when the audience treats... Or I should say the writers or the creators treats the audience as, you know, they respect them and they're like, okay, you know, some of this stuff might be a little too advanced to understand, but some kids might pick up on it. And then other times it's like, well, kids are, you know, they're small and they aren't smart, so we have to keep going, hey, they're stupid, so let's say how much they hate dogs.
And, like, do really, like, offensive stereotypes and just...
Yes.
All of that, just to be like, oh, well, they're kids, you know, they'll think it's funny.
Exactly. And it's disappointing after the first one was so good, and I'm trying to remember, because that was, what, January, February? When did we do that?
I think February 17th the video came out, so we probably did it in January.
Okay. So, obviously, it was, like, half a year ago, but I'm like, to my knowledge, there wasn't really any, like, they didn't, I mean, it was a completely different story, but it's like they weren't relying on stereotypes and... writing to get them through.
Right. Well, I mean, you could argue the first one is based off a book, so
true. They
wanted to do some kind of justice. But we talked about in the first one how Homeward Bound kind of outdid the book. Doesn't happen often, but I haven't read the book, so I guess I can't really say. But if the very first Incredible Journey we watched was based, was very faithful to the book. That one was boring. But Homeward Bound is excellent. Just, like, the relationships they build and all the stuff they actually go through is believable. And just, like, this one is like, okay,
and they threw those relationships out, it felt like, a lot of the time to take a backseat to the romance. Yeah. But it was, like, even obviously, you know, Chance and Sassy have very playful banter, and that's something that, you know, is just part of their relationship that's very, like, it's lovable for that. But it feels like there was just a complete regression again, and then even, I don't know, it just felt like how often, especially that they were leaving Chance, or how Chance wanted to leave them so readily. It was like it just erased all the progress that he made in the first movie of, hey, a family is a good thing.
Yeah. It was like they were trying to tell us that, like, Jamie being a little bit of a brat to Chance would make Chance throw away everything he feels for Jamie for a dog he met 2 hours ago.
Yep.
Like, no.
And
no.
And that brings us to the point that we were discussing in there where, again, it's putting romantic love as, like, the pinnacle of all love and the most important kind, when there's so many different kinds that are just as important. But as a society, for whatever reason, we're like, nope, romance is the key to happy life, and you can't...
Yeah. Romantic love is the end-all, be-all. Yeah. Familial love and friendship love, platonic love, whatever, cannot give you a fulfilling life. You need romantic love to have a fulfilling life, and it's better than all other loves, which is just not true.
And his heart gets broken by, like, okay, he met her yesterday, and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm just super sad about this, but, like, the whole other movie, he was like, oh, I miss Jamie, but, like, if you lost your family or a friend, you would be heartbroken
Like,
and torn up about it.
also though, I just feel like that whole emphasis is gone in this one. Like in the first one, Shadow, you are like sobbing because of how much he loves Peter.
Yes.
And he talks about how like a dog's role and like how he's like, Peter is everything to me. And in this one, he's kind of like, yeah, we're getting home. Where's Chance? Like,
yeah.
He's like, we're gotta get back to them. Like, and I get Shadow being like completely over it, but like, there's just a lot wrong with this movie, from like Shadow doing things out of character. Shadow like was so close to death in the first one, and then in this one is like spry and like
and he's
totally
like getting
fine.
into fights and
Yeah,
everything,
he's
and like
wrecking other dogs. Like, no.
And it's amazing because it was about the same runtime. Like, I think both were about
About
an hour
90
and a half.
minutes,
Yeah,
yeah.
because last time I remember being like, oh my gosh, this felt so long as a kid because so much happened and so much character development went into it. And this one, it's like, I couldn't wait for it to be over.
And somehow in the first one, each of them went through their own trial.
Yep.
Like Chance with the spikes and the pound, Sassy with the river, and Shadow with the mud.
Mm-hmm.
They all went through like their own thing together in 90 minutes, which made them individually grow and grow together.
Yes.
And somehow in this film, no one grows, everything's trash. The romance,
There's no
dude.
lessons learned either. Like, even if it was like, oh, it would have maybe been cute if Chance could have been like, no, like, I am satisfied. Like, I'm happy I found my home. But then it's like, no. I mean, I'm glad for the dog, Delilah, that it's like, oh, cool, she gets a family.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the whole fact of like, oh, well, he didn't, like, not that he has to sacrifice anything, but it's like he didn't learn a lesson of like, oh no, I'm happy I'm back with my family because
Right.
this is what's important.
Right.
And Sassy kept wanting to leave Chance. Like,
Which is not in her character. Even in the first one, she didn't want to leave Chance behind. Like, she had the witty banter, but she was like, when they're reunited, she's like, my boy is my boy. Like,
so it was like,
and she's very concerned about him in the pound. She's like, go get him, Shadow.
exactly. And like she'd tease him to like, okay, but she was gonna help him get the porcupine spikes out and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like you said with Shadow as well, how like the disrespect to the characters.
Yeah, the scene where the entire climax of the pound people, or the blood red van, or whatever you want to call it, those two guys who didn't change clothes after a day.
Yes.
You noticed that.
Because he still had the pee stain from that dog.
That's gross.
The day before, yeah.
Why wouldn't you just go home and change your shirt? Like, it's that important to you to catch these dogs you ate?
And what was that? There was no like further explanation for what was this lab. Like it was just like, oh well, I guess
Good
we're
enough
gonna
for the
forget
kids.
that's a whole storyline we didn't
Yeah.
like take down the lab from the inside. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Anything
There could've
other
been
than
cool.
the romance.
They could have done this whole thing. Like they could have all went into like, oh, they're stealing dogs. They're like experimenting on them, and they like bust in, and that could have been a whole movie.
Yeah, and then they go home.
And then they go home. Yeah.
They like help the strays, and then all the strays can like go to families. You know, classic. We love when strays get to find homes. Like, you know,
The reporters get in, like someone's like, hey, come follow me, and like they do the whole thing, and then the family can even be like, you guys did all this while we were gone, and
Yeah, cute.
look, we could rewrite the whole movie
Yes,
right
we could.
here.
We should. We just reenact the whole movie. I'll be Shadow.
Yeah, I love it. Like, this one.
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
maybe Sassy?
No. Shadow watching Chance go against these lab people and only intervening once Chance is shoved into a truck. No. So not Shadow's character. So not Sassy's character.
I know, they would have been down there, like, oh, we have to do something.
Sassy would have been like, let's go. We gotta do something. And Shadow would have been like, let's go, Sassy. Like,
He would have been, like, down the stairs already, and she'd be like, okay, let's
like, when everyone was hiding, Shadow would have been like, where's Chance?
Well, and that the whole Delilah, the dog, that's like, oh, you know, whatever. They had literally been watching Chance play with the garbage. They all run inside, and she's like, is Chance in here? I'm like, you guys saw where he was.
I thought he was behind me. You should have fracking looked. Oh my goodness. On a good note,
Yes.
Ralph Waite, who is the voice of Shadow, did an excellent job.
Brilliant.
I think. Right at the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, I don't think that's Donamichi or Donamichi or whatever. But then as it goes, you forget. Like
it's like he's
got the same timbre, he's got the same feel of the voice, at least. The character is written terribly, but that's not his fault. The mom carried the movie. For the humans.
For the humans, the mom was like the only... The daughter was alright. Her reaction to the pets being lost again and like, you know, starting to tear up instead of like, what? Are they gonna be okay, Dad?
Like, Benji Thal in the first one, like, so good. Him capturing, like, how much he loves Shadow. You're just like, ooh, it hurts.
Because that relationship between Shadow and Peter, thank you. It was so integral to it, and you're like, yes,
that's what made the whole movie, like, yes. And, like, him being like, he was too old, it was too far, like, you're like, he delivers that!
They, like, forgot that Shadow is, well, they got a new dog, I guess, so they're not worried anymore.
Freaking, Benji Thal did a bad job. Benji Thal phoned it in, you could say.
This scene of just, like, are they gonna be okay? I'm sure they'll be fine, son. You're like, what the hell is that?
When I watched it alone, I did cry. I cried when they were reunited with Chance and the mom was crying. I was like, she did a good job.
She's selling it.
She got me to cry.
Her reaction just in the background, they didn't give her a lot of dialogue, but
And all her dialogue, go to sleep.
Just these kids like making such a like profound like, hey, I'm growing as a person. Go to sleep. I wish the relationship between Shadow and Riley was more important than it was, because I feel like it was touched on, but it was like that even just Shadow and Sassy took a backseat to this dumb romance, and it was like the little scene at the end when they were saying bye to Riley when they were crossing the bridge, also without Chance, because they were like, I guess oh well. But just like Riley really thinking about like, oh hey, maybe being a pet's not so bad kind of thing. It would have been nice to have, I don't know, a little more development there instead of just the weird makeout scene.
I think the whole makeout scene, I just think the Stray versus Pets relationship was very interesting, and that dynamic could have been delved into more. Instead of, obviously, the horrid romance and heteronormativity we need to do.
We gotta force it down the throats of everybody watching.
It makes me uncomfy. I don't like it. Nope. I'm so happy, I said this to her, but I'm so happy I watched this with Brie, because I feel like there are some people that like the romance, and that's fine, you know, that's what they were raised on. It's society's standard, pretty much. But when I was watching it, I was trying to be nice, but I wrote the romance is ... not my favorite thing.
That's
like,
generous.
I get it, but let's relax. And I was really like, wow, this is garbage, and I cannot deal with this. And then to have you validate those feelings was so wonderful. Because I was like, yo, I don't think Brie's gonna like this. And then you were like, look at me like, no. They're not about to do a romance. Stop. And I was like...
No, it was the moment where it was like, cute butt. And I was like...
So gross?
What? Is that what we're going with? It made me so
uncomfortable.
I was like...
When she said cute butt, I was like... These are animals.
Inappropriate jokes that were... There was like a lot sprinkled
That's
what
I was gonna say when you said they were catering to kids. Like, they were like, oh, they're stupid. I feel like they kind of also did it to the adults. Like, adults will only find sex jokes funny.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's, oh, I'm into leather. Cute,
that one was funny. I feel like that
I'm
one
into leather
was,
was funny.
I was surprised. I was like, wow, did they really put that in? But, like, it was...
What was the... that's not what you said last night, Toots. That's like, ew.
To Sassy, it was like, what the hell?
It's so...
Why are we doing this?
Yeah. And those were the only jokes for adults. Would you call it a
cat call?
See, that's funny. That's funny. We love a good pun.
But yeah,
butterfly, you butterfly. That was cute.
Fun.
That was funny. But like,
well-placed and smart sex jokes are funny.
And if it's only sex jokes,
correct.
That's like adults can get other things. Like if you put in topics that like kids don't pay attention to, like I know in some movies they'll put like a comment about like an old president or like, you know,
Yes.
something, and you're like, ha ha ha, or like about an old show that kids obviously won't know that reference, but you might. Like,
Exactly.
those are always fun for the adults, but only sex jokes for the adults because that's all they can get. You know, like, it's just, ew.
It's just
Tacky.
cheap.
The dialogue is painful. Painful. Like, there's this thing in screenwriting that or any writing that you learn called subtext. And some people blow right through the subtext and just say
Punch you in the nose instead of
Yes.
just like tapping.
Being
it.
like, hey, you should infer this. Instead, they're just like, hey, this! And you're like,
And then you think about though, it's like you have to. That's why every time I read my writing, I'm like, I read it out loud because I'm like, would somebody actually say this?
yes.
And would a human being talk like this?
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember looking back. I mean, maybe somebody might, but the one villain with the he's cosplaying the guy from Recess that I said with a baseball hat, where he turns around to the dog and he's like, "You're gonna go to the lab. You're gonna," and it was like,
That was better than he delivered
what
it.
is your, but it was like, what is your, who wrote this? Like, why are you just turning around if you hate? And then them just talking to each other like, hey, don't like, I don't know, just everything. It was all bad. I mean,
was
I
bad.
could just keep going on about this, but
I wish I could have recorded Bree's reaction to this movie because the farther it got, the more her hair got messy because she was just like, what is, like, legitimately
my
grabbing
mouth
her
just,
head.
like permanently like.
She, like, constantly, it would be like a, they're not doing this. And I'd be like, yeah. I also think, though, we do have to say what they can train the dogs to do is
Yes!
very cool.
It was like I had that in my head. I was like, okay, next topic. Perfect. See, there.
Wow.
Because that was adorable. When they were in the park, the actual dogs themselves, and like Delilah was putting her
Yeah.
paws over. Like, it was adorable. And you're like,
And the
this
frisbee
is so cute.
over the head.
Yeah, to like protect
and like
from
her
the
laying
rain.
on him, like all the things they had to train the dogs to do.
Amazing.
So cute. Or like sassy cuddling Shadow,
Yeah.
and not the other dog who's trash.
Yeah, that was gross.
You know, that's all of that's so cute. Like what they, you know, it's
they're
incredible
able,
what you
yeah.
can train a dog to do. It's and a cat.
So props to all the animal trainers. You did your job correctly.
Bravo. What would you rate it?
A 3. I don't like it.
3 what? What should we do?
Oh,
Bad romances? Dogs,
yeah.
cats?
3 bad romances.
3 bad romances. Mine, my breakdown is all over the place. I encourage you to look at the breakdown, but the final rating came out to be 5 bad romances out of 10, which is generous. That's because the mom carried the film.
Yeah, exactly. I love how, like, for certain films, when you're like, oh my god, I love this, it has to be lower, because you're like, okay, technical things. But
Yeah.
for this one, you're like, luckily the technical stuff carried you.
The technical stuff carried it, because there are some things in here that got a low score. Like, the writing got a 2. So, check out the breakdown down below.
If I'm wanting to, like, reach for my phone, I turn to Jess at this point. I don't know how she does this all the time, but I'm like, I can't reach for my phone and play on it because I'm needed to be watching to judge it. But I'm like, if it's not holding my attention, it's under a 5.
Yeah.
Because
That's fair. That's a fair score. Under a 5, if you have to look at your phone, that's a fair score. Our total movie count is... our cry count is, because I cried. And parent death total is still the same. If you want to follow Bri on Instagram.
Hey.
Go on over there. She's beautiful.
you know,
She's great. If you want to keep up with the movie I'm watching when, follow me on
She's also
Instagram. Oh, thank you. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter. Find out what movie I'm watching when. I put up videos every Monday and Friday. And this is the week of guests.
Woo!
400 is soon. I'm so excited.
I'm excited for what it is. Is it a good one?
I know, it's Hunchback.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes. So
Okay.
exciting. Join Patreon because there is a ton of bonus stuff happening over there, including a request from Bri
Yay.
and an interview from Bri. So head on over there.
I know now they're like, oh, I gotta go right now.
Gotta go join Patreon. You can only see the interview if you are a Donald patron or higher. You can see the request if you are any tier. So just so y'all know, thanks for being here. Wow,
Thank you for having
love you so
me.
much. You
We're
need to
gonna
come
have
back.
Find
Yeah,
it's
'cause now we're done with all the incredible journeys.
Exactly, the incredible journey.
Until tomorrow, because it's the week of
Yeah.
guests. Commonly describe it on which you are, so you do, and don't be the pound guys about it. Recess man.
The recess man.
Or Delilah, because she's the romance.
But I feel like it's hard because her dog itself is so cute.
It's true. So definitely recess man.
Yeah, don't be the recess man.
Yeah.
Bye. It's another one that's like, I hate us, but I love us.
Yes. Classic us. I hate us, but I also love us. Thesaurus.com. Bree and Jess are here.
How long have we been friends?
Yo, 11 years.
And I was just gonna say, I was like,
And do the math in my head real quick.
I love it.
Me too. Wow. Oh, you mean it?
Look at us.
We're
So
cute. Okay, it's
we
happening.
Stop. Okay.